Hi guys, it's me, Johnny Cassell, and welcome back to the Johnny Cassell Show. Today we have Mr. Dayle Best in the house, and we are in Hollywood. We're in Hollywood, baby.
We are indeed.
We're in Hollywood.
California.
And we're going to be talking about styling, various topics on the subject. You can see Dayle is in his evening attire for this broadcast. All right, let's get into it. The first kind of issue I want to address is, when someone is making these changes through styling, image, presentation, branding, bringing their character out through clothing, right? I know we spoke about this off camera, which was hilarious, but how can one address the jealousy that they might experience on a night out, right? Because I'm asking this question because I was that guy that was jealous of how someone else was dressed, right? In previous videos, I've shared how I used to act.
Right.
So it's interesting to see it on the other side.
Right.
So how would you address a guy that you're feeling like a jealous vibe from?
It isn't addressed at all. It just is. It's not even seen. You pretty much just walk through that. And that's the truth, man.
There's just a jealous cat.
Yeah, that's
in the room.
He ain't even worthy of being called a cat.
But that's really interesting to hear, right? Because when you haven't got your shit together, and you're looking at someone that has, and it's like telling you, look, this is a guy that gets this area of life that you don't get.
Exactly.
It's the why you're feeling that is because you haven't got it sorted.
Right.
And that guy is not even listening.
Right.
To your insecurities.
Right. And if he did, that wouldn't even have happened.
Right.
You know what I mean? It just wouldn't have been there.
Right.
Non-existent. He wouldn't have brought that bullshit into reality. You know what I mean? It just would have been cool.
Right. So you can honestly say you've never even picked up on someone being, or just not even jealous, just like behaving oddly, because they feel a bit intimidated. Because when I roll out of view, you're the first guy that everyone notices in the room.
Yeah, I only realize it when I'm out with yourself, really, and other people that might be close to me. But they would say it in a jokey way, right? If there is something, with a particular chick or whatever. But usually a lot of it, I don't pick up on it, man. You know that. You've been out with me.
I know. You don't pick up on.
Yeah, you've been telling me things that have made me more kind of conscious of how I move. You know what I mean? Really, I'm serious.
Well, that's it. There's people that have these unconscious habits that do very well for them, and there's people that really have to kind of work it out and understand the psychological principles that they have to put in place to get natural at this sort of thing.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So, okay. And again, I don't know if we touched upon this in a different video, but something that I want to talk about is the whole riding solo thing.
Right.
Because a lot of guys, whether their friends have kind of, left the wolf pack, so to speak, or, moved out of the city into the suburbs to settle down.
Yeah.
They're left on the fence thinking, shit, what do I do now? How do I go out? And you go out alone. You're quite confident of being able to do that.
Yeah.
What's the things to look out for to make that easier for someone?
Well, in the beginning, I consciously had to think about that before I started making the move, and saying to myself, you know what, I need to know a new crew of people now. A conscious decision to do that, and it doesn't mean and as you said, once you have that, well, that's the initiation. That gets you into that whole thing of, well, if you could go out by yourself or go out to events to share that you meet people in the first place, then going out or going somewhere else shouldn't really be a big deal. But it can be, because it was like that thing for me initially.
Right.
And then, as I told you before, I really, if I look back when I used to go to another country and work, don't know anybody there, and then come back, go overseas or whatever. What if you compare that just to going to a club in London? It's ridiculous, the sheer fact that it runs through your head that I'm by myself. Am I going to know anyone
It's
there?
really interesting you say that, because I remember, I think it was like the last sort of family holiday I ever went on. Oh, man, we went there, and it was so awkward because like here I was in this sort of family dynamic in a not so family dynamic landscape, and I was like, oh my God. And I remember being in that moment. I thought, I've got to make a decision right now, and I've got to try and get extroverted and just go out and speak to strangers, make the best of this week. Otherwise, this is going to be a very painful, slow week, right?
Yeah.
And I really learned a lot about myself by being in that position, because I got out there, I was talking to people, met people by coincidence. I met like someone that lived like 2 streets away, and from where we live back home. And as you said about, you like that when you go away, right? You kind of got that holiday atmosphere. And when I came back, I really kept that momentum going.
Yeah, exactly.
I was still on that kind of buzz of like going out, being social. And you're right, if you're away, you would do it then. So why not do it like in the city where you're from?
Exactly. And why not?
And you spoke also about we both spoke about how, like, getting to know the places that you're going to be mostly frequenting, right? Getting to know those key contacts, get them in your back pocket, because essentially what it leads to is you're not actually going out alone. You're actually going out to meet your friends, because your friends end up working at these places.
Yeah, exactly. So,
the venue becomes your wingman, right?
Did your mother feel that you were trying to stay away from them?
She knew I had to do something, because what was I going to do? Just lay on the beach with the folks, like, whilst everyone's having a good time. But no, it was a good situation to be in. We spoke about this the other day, and it kind of links back to, when you are making progress with your image and you're getting that handled, how to deal with a lot of the positive attention. So we spoke just a moment ago about dealing with the negative attention that you might encounter, but how to deal with the positive attention. I'm talking about, women showing that they're interested in you, indicators. How do you capitalize on that?
I mean, you just take that on as a blessing, and just really humbled by it, man. Because and the people that do it always seems to be like really, really cool and genuinely mean it, because they show an interest in fashion. No, they don't show. It's styling. They're showing interest in, right? Not fashion. How you personally get it together. So it's a blessing. All you could do is just like, after someone saying that to you, getting into conversation, if you really, see yourself keeping in touch, then you do, you know what I mean? But it's a blessing inside that happens, you know what I mean? You get that kind of compliment,
It's like a
Very
language.
so.
It's like a language that, women understand. It's a language that women understand. They take such great efforts, and as you said, in
male or female,
like women have a style strategy.
Right.
A strategy of what leads me on to something else I want to talk about in a minute. It's just triggered off another thought, but if women have a strategy on what to wear to go out, why don't guys have that strategy?
Absolutely.
But so if a woman sees you in that environment and sees, oh, there's a guy that gets it, then you've already got common ground.
Well, there you go. Yeah. There you go. Plain sailing.
I want you to share with us the thing you put on the students at the workshop the other week when we went around the room.
Oh. Yeah. Go on. I'll let you move on with that.
All right. It's really funny to me, when you did it in such an elegant way, right? Rather than say, look, you look like shit, sort it out, right? It was like, you went around the room and you was like, okay, why do you dress the way you dress, right? And it was like, it was a great challenging question. It made you think, okay, why? What does my garment represent? What are they telling people about myself? And then you got to, that's the guy on the end, but he looked like he looked like he'd come out of like a long day's worth of work, gone out, had a few beers, right, had a rough night, slept in his clothes, and then gone back to work and then
Exactly.
attended the workshop the next day.
Ready for the workshop, just ready.
And the
no
question,
effort, no nothing, just ready.
the question you
With a
asked,
folder in his hand, that was it.
the question was pure genius, right? When you woke up this morning, knowing that you were coming to this workshop and knowing that you'd be in a situation where you could potentially meet women, did you have that in mind before you got dressed this morning?
Right.
And it was a great way to make someone realize.
Yeah, because
like,
I didn't
okay,
actually read it into that way when I was saying it. But when
Right.
you said it back to me, I thought, oh man, that was hard.
But
But it was done in a real modest, cool way, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
clear that, like, I didn't mean no harm.
that
But it is what it is.
that was the elegance of it. It was.
Yeah, it was funny.
I think it certainly made him realize, and he went away and made
Yeah.
certain changes. What I wanted to talk about, like the price of looking good. I think when it comes to making certain changes, people get put off by the potential costs involved of such things. And in this case, it's what's the cost of actually looking good,
Well, there's always a way. It doesn't necessarily have to be expensive,
right?
depending on how much work you want to put into it. But like, there's lots of different ways. So if you really want to find a way, you find a way. But it can be expensive as well, depending. Once you can't like really get into it, depending on what you want to put together. But overall, no, not at all. It's just knowing the cut, knowing the cloth, knowing the look, and going out there and finding it.
So let's give some examples. Like, is it what's possible? Is it possible to? I mean, how many looks do you think you could get out of 500 quid? If someone was to work with you on one of our styling programs, and that they go, look, I've got a budget of 500 quid. Like, what's possible?
Probably two.
2 outfits.
Yeah, maybe 2.5. No,
Yeah.
1.5.
Right. Okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, about 2. And it's like and the reason why I say 1.5 is might not be a complete thing but it'd be closely related to what the initial one was. So it's not really a complete. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Outfit
Yeah.
or look. But I mean, like, the budget is definitely something we look into in finding the right fashion houses to go to, for use of a better word, and just style the individual depending on what they're into. So like, it doesn't necessarily have to be, but overall you're looking at maybe one stretching on, that half.
Yeah. And what do you think is advised? What like minimal, really? I mean, 500. I just threw a figure at you, but
No, I think that's the ballpark figure.
500 is the
Yeah,
minimum. Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
Also depends what time in the year you may be. If you're going to work with me or work with us in the winter months, it'd be completely kind of like different. Might be a different budget and spend if it was, say, like spring. You're wearing less clothing, aren't you?
Yeah. True.
For the most part.
Yeah. Right. When the guys are working with you, like, what is the process? What is the first step of, like, okay, like, I've decided. Let's just share. Like, I want people to kind of understand that. Like, what they've come forward and they thought, right, yeah, I want to get this sorted. What is the first step? What was the first step that you're doing with them?
And the very first step is to have, to be comfortable with self initially. And if indeed you are, then it means kind of like getting like an idea of what you want to portray, what you want to be, how you want to feel in that particular garment. And again, it comes down to the season and when it's going to be carried out. And then on moving forward, we'll put together, a mood board.
Yeah.
Where you're encouraged to research and look at and be inspired. It might be a photograph or a piece of fabric you may have found, or any other thing that could get those creative juices going. And then when we have something as well as that, being more visual, and then we could kind of like help sculpt a look or a feel for that individual.
Right.
But initially it's done through them putting in the time and doing the research. and putting in quality time.
Yeah.
Not just random going through Google.
Yeah.
Oh, he looks good in that.
Yeah.
He's got a square chin, you know.
So that's the first part of the process, right? So once you got those reference points and that bit of information, what's the next step?
As I said, finding quality time and getting the images together, and then we meet, we have a talk. Prior to that, there's a questionnaire that is sent out. Some really, really easy guidelines to like, you know, in terms of look, feel. We do go into a little bit of grooming as well as fragrances as well. And once the questionnaire comes back, we'll have a meet and go through the questions together so that I understand and get an understanding of where he is with regards to fashion and so forth. And then from then, we start breaking the images down smaller, smaller, smaller. We end up with like maybe 2 looks. And then we'd go out, research them. If we find them, we try to get them for the right price. If it means that alterations need to be done, we would do that, you know, to make that work.
Right.
But it is something that is, you know, the time has to be put in, and them finding time and respecting the whole process of being styled. It's not, we're not talking about fashion or, you know, even though, you know, there are certain looks that are in, but at the same time, in working with styling, always looking to bring out the individual.
Yeah.
In any given look.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm glad you touched on that in terms of like respect the process, because as I was once told, and which really resonated with me, is like as you go grocery shopping, right? You're putting certain foods in your trolley based on the meal that you want to have.
Absolutely.
Right? And it's like it's the same thing when it comes to buying clothes, which I didn't used to make that connection. I used to just go out and go, that's a nice shirt, I'll get that shirt. I didn't have in mind what I was going to piece that with.
Right.
You know, I was just buying that ingredient, but not sure which recipe it was going into.
Right, exactly.
You know, and I think that's a really great way of kind of understanding that it's.
And that's exactly how it comes together. And that's what makes it interesting, because if you're buying something, not necessarily knowing what it's going to go with, but you're buying those individual things that create that persona of that personal styling, you notice that the objects that you do buy over those couple of months or whatever, once you see them come together, once you see them together.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Because you already know your thing by then.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And that's the thing. And what a lot of the guys get from working with you is actually they get educated on how to do it themselves.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's the most important thing.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's when you feel as though they get it. You know,
exactly.
When that happens, you know.
You touched on fragrances
Yeah.
just a minute ago. Why is that important? I mean, and I know what was funny recently. We had a client. He goes, "I've got a really." This was hilarious. You can't make this stuff up. It's very funny. He goes, "I've got a really high-end perfume or a really high-end fragrance. It smells like Dove hand wash."
Yeah.
It's expensive one, right? Like, I mean, how important is fragrance, man? Like,
fragrance is very important. The only reason why I reacted to him in that way was because it's like he kind of like.
Well, I think anyone would react to.
No, but I just needed to, you know, let him know exactly where he was. You know, politely.
Yeah.
And but you yourself know, you know, that like, you know, when you teach your students like you know, non-vocal behavior is equally very, very important, as you know. You know, before, you know, just the way one speaks to each other with stuff that you're not even, you know, maybe you're not conscious of at the time. So fragrance works in exactly the same way. If someone's reading your body behavior, or you're reading the body behavior of a woman, and you both acknowledge that, and then you put scent on top of that. That's the icing on the top of the cake.
So is there anything else you kind of want to share?
Nothing more than just saying that the process is a process and needs to be taken seriously. You know, they need to give themselves that quality time and doing the homework, because it is homework.
Sure.
You know, it's not like an over in 2-second process, but it's not lengthy either. But it's enough just putting forward those Jedi gems of styling to bring out the individual, and that's really all the individual needs to take on board. Really, is just take your time and give it the quality time for that result.
Right. Yeah. All right, man. Listen, man. Thanks for coming on.
JC, every time.
Yeah, it's great having you here in Hollywood with us.
Yeah, California.
Hey. And listen, guys, if you want to work with Dayle, head on over to the website, and you'll be able to find him on our 7-day program, or occasionally at the Impactful Connection workshops, where he drops in and shares some Jedi gems, as you like to call them. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Hit like, subscribe, and I hope to be working with you guys soon.